but please don't try that ever. Don't add anything to the visual. Don't go ahead and say something there. It's not just recommendation, there are consultation points. don't, please don't do that. Don't ever do that. Are you watching this YouTube channel right now on your iPhone or it's an Android phone? I see. Now, do you remember when you purchased this phone, what made you go ahead and buy this particular one and not the other version? I understand. And that can be a very good topic for an IELTS Task 1 report. Welcome to IELTS Juice. Let's look at the rubric now. The charts below show information about consumer decisions regarding mobile phone purchases in 2 different countries. We don't have the name of the countries. We have country A and country B. And our charts are 2 pie charts. And as I can see, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 categories. Yes, here and here. We have price. We have friends' recommendations and design. This is design. And the last one is brand. Don't let the colors fool you. Pay attention to the words. Because at IELTS, they basically give you a monochromic, meaning it's only one color. And they use with the shades and the way that they put lines together. It might be striped or, solid, one color, or dotted, or checkered. So there are different patterns that they can use to just make the difference between different elements. Before I carry on reading the response, let me also tell you that at IELTS, we usually don't have these colors, so don't rely on colors. It actually is a very good sample for us to say that the way it is colored, it's just for visual purposes and it doesn't carry any weight. And IELTS certainly doesn't do that, at least not yet. So what I can understand is that this is significant. In country A, people buy certain smartphones or cellular phones just based on price. But anyway, this is 50% of the entire reason why people purchased a smartphone, right? Mobile phones, cell phones. That's the exact opposite, because if you look at the second country, the price is only 9%. In this country, design matters more than anything else. And in the second place, you have friends' recommendation. Interestingly, friends' recommendation in both categories comes second. Here, price is first, but in this one, price is last. And brand is somewhere in between. Brand here is last, but here, price is last. Without further ado, let's look at the report. The figures represent the percentages of 4 factors that affect consumers, apostrophe should come after S, consumers' decision-making process related to paying a new mobile phone in 2 countries. Okay, one thing that I would like to mention here is that, as you saw in the diagram, we do not have a time frame. So the visual doesn't tell us when the survey was conducted. So in such cases, when you are not given any time, we don't know if it's from 1992 or 2020, or it's from a range, or it has been since 2019 all the way till now. We don't have that kind of information. We basically use present simple. That's the safest. and of course the most accurate tense to use. These factors are price, brand, design, and friends' recommendations. I like it. So the introduction is quite sophisticated. I am introduced to the topic. There are 2 countries and there are 4 factors. We know what those 4 factors are, and we know that these 4 factors affect consumers' decisions. So far, everything looks good. Great. One thing, we don't have an overall here. There is not a significant point. Something that immediately stands out, like what I just told you. While price for country A is the most important element, it is in a stark contrast, it is the least important element in country B. Let's look at the first body paragraph. And also, before I start reading, please note that I have no idea how we are going to structure the paragraphs. That structure is not mentioned in the introduction. It's not a big deal. It's something that you might want to consider if you want a better coherence and cohesion score. Apparently, half of the sample confirms that price plays the most significant role in consumers' apostrophe S, please, purchasing decisions in country A. This word order is rather weird. In consumers' purchasing decisions, sounds not very natural. Maybe in consumers' decision-making process in country A. That would have sounded better. Whereas only 10% of people are concerned about design. That's the more natural way to use the word concern. I know you can use it alone, but here are concerned about design is more natural. As a reference, they depend on. I guess this is a kind of like a typo, I believe. In addition, the least factor was brand, not the brand. That only 7% of phone market consumers look for present simple again. So brand 7%, 10%. We reported price, brand, and design, and for some reason, friends' recommendation is not in this paragraph. And this paragraph basically focused on country A. Let me tell you, this is a good strategy. I'm not saying it's the best strategy. It's not an excellent strategy. It is a good, moderately okay strategy. You devote 1 paragraph for each visual they give you. So I can see 2 pie charts. So the safe method, again, safe method, would be just to focus on country A in 1 paragraph and focus on country B in the next paragraph. That is safe. Doing that will help you get good 6, maybe 7. I mean, I'm very generically speaking here, but you understand what I'm saying. Of course, if you want a higher score, then you can divide, you can compare, you need to compare more. You need to compare country A with country B. And then you go from one element to the other and from that element to the other. That is a bit time-consuming and risky. Maybe you don't want to do that. In contrast, country B's sample shows less sensitivity to the phone's price. The phone, I understand we're talking about cell phones, but it's not the. We basically can say cell phone's price, with only 9% of people interested in it, not passed. This is the second time I see inconsistency in grammar. A good practice is to always write the grammar tense. If you're taking IELTS on paper, immediately write the grammar tense on top of the visual. For example, here you just write present. And it will help you to maintain the grammar throughout. Every time you look at the visual, you're reminded that I must write present tense sentences. We're interested in delete this and it becomes interested in it, or people who are interested in it. And since we're generalizing cell phones, maybe instead of it, we can say them to just match the correct version I just mentioned. Otherwise, 40% of people said they are affected by design itself over other factors, such as brand, which is recommended by 19% of people. Okay. Instead of this digit 9 and percent, I forgot to mention that we should say NINE percent, and you can say per space cent or percent, PERCENT, all one word. Either way works. However, this is not, I have issue with however, otherwise here. They are not accurately used. A third of the sample in each country concerns their friends' recommendations. Instead of the word concern, maybe we can use a better synonym, like accounts for, or you can basically switch places and say friends' recommendation accounts for a third of the sample in each country. Doesn't it sound more natural and much better than just saying, yeah, this concerns the other thing? It may not be a very good fit here. And advice. We have advice? Just have friends' recommendations. We don't have advice. It's a risky move. Please try not to add anything. Here, it's like, it's not a bad, it doesn't give us any bad scores, but please don't try that ever. Don't add anything to the visual. Don't go ahead and say something there. It's not just recommendation, there are consultation points. Please don't do that. Don't ever do that. When they decide to buy a new cellular phone, you don't buy a cellar unless you are in wine business and you want to store some wine, which in that case, oh my God, yeah, good. Then by all means, buy a cellar, please. But if you are not in wine business and you are in phone business, then why do you need a cellar? Again, I'm speculating. Forget it. Let's look at 153 words. Let's look at the band descriptors. There you go. Okay. First issue for me is tense confusion. We had past, present continuous, and some weird structures that they shouldn't be there. So that is effective, basically. So grammar was, there were many errors in grammar. It says some, but there were many with respect to the number of words we saw. It's not an essay. It's not like we have 250, 300, 350 words, and then there are only 153 words, and we came up with that many grammar mistakes. I didn't like that. I also didn't like cohesive devices. But cohesive devices were not used in a very accurate way. And the problem was mostly related to vocabulary of that part. Regarding vocabulary, I saw some errors. Again, some of these errors happened in connectors. So the word itself is wrong. They're like, apparently is a good connector, but it's not a good connector here because it has another meaning. So it conveys the message, but it conveys some extra messages that you don't want. That's why it's not a good fit. I just talked about coherence and cohesion, and referencing was basically okay. The organization was logical. I told you it was safe. We had 2 paragraphs. Each paragraph focused on one visual. That's it. We covered all the elements, correct? We only covered key features. We played it safe. I didn't see any errors in reporting data. The data was reported accurately, and we had some trends, ups and downs, correct? But it could have been better developed. So it has all the features of 7, but not all the features of 8. All in all, 6.5 seems fair. And the most important element to improve this report would be to focus on tense consistency. So we only need present simple tense, only. We don't know there's no time given, so present simple is the one to go. On that note, I hope I'll be assessing your report, or maybe you want to send us an essay. No problem. Next time. Bye for now.